like to know what you consider racism, first of all, because obviously you're pretty blind to what racism really is. If you believe, you still haven't answered my question about Tamir Rice, which is very smart of you, because obviously had he been a white boy, a white child, he would not have been killed like that. How many 12-year-old white kids, 11-year-old white kids, how many 6-year-olds have you heard about being beaten that weren't white? I've heard of no white 6-year-olds, but I have heard of a 6-year-old who was black being tasered because he was cutting himself. I've heard about a 12-year-old man, and he's in here as well, 12-year-old teenager being killed because he had a mental disorder. He was mentally disabled, and he was black. The police didn't know how to handle him, they said, right? Now, it depends on what you view as racism. If you can't accept the fact that no white people get this treatment, yeah, white people get killed by the cops as well, but not at the rate that black people do. Now, if you can't admit that there's something a bit strange about that, then there's no hope for you. But let's just do, and do you even know why the police department was started? Do you have any idea of the history of the police department? That's a whole other video. But anyway, so let's go through here and see what we have. Right? Paul Child was the boy I was speaking of. It was in 2003. He had developmental disabilities and epilepsy. He was holding a knife in front of his face because he wanted to cut himself. He also wanted to be a police officer, oddly enough, and he ended up getting shot right in front of his mom. Now, if you don't believe that's racist, would that happen to a white child? No. I have this entire folder full of cases. Not one of them are white. Let's see here. And most of the cases I work on at the Police Brutality Center, they're not white either. Once in a while, yeah, you get a white case, but the majority, an unproportionate majority, are black. So there's one that's horrifically tragic. He was in his 80s. He's a black man. It was recorded on audio, right? Every day he took a lunch to his wife, who was in a nursing home. And this day he had baked cupcakes, right? Okay? He baked cupcakes for her. Police officer pulled him over. White police officer pulled him over because he was driving too slow. And because he was driving too slow, the officer said, "Get out of the car." He did as fast as he could, but he couldn't because he's 82, right? He didn't get out fast enough. So not only did the officer feel it was necessary to throw his cupcakes and everything he made out onto the street, which is just an insult, he also felt it was necessary to take this man in. He also felt it was necessary to beat this man with the car door when the man didn't get in the back seat fast enough. He was calling him, like I said, I'm not using racial slurs, but he was calling him the N-word or whatever you want to say. Not saying it, I refuse to. He's calling him racial slurs while banging and bashing the door against this man's legs. Now, there are pictures of this, there's audio of this. So while he is doing this, you don't deem that racist? He wasn't killed, thankfully, but that's just an example. Anyway, so let's see. There was a whole... There's too many cases here. There's so many cases. There's so many cases, and you have the... I don't believe you actually believe it. I can't fathom how somebody could believe that the police aren't killing black people at a disproportionate rate when they admit it. Have you read anything from the NYPD? Apparently not. So let's also think of this. When a cop says, "Oh, I thought his wallet was a gun," or "Oh, I thought his shoe was a gun," or let's take the first case that I watched. When I was 14, I watched a man, I believe his name was, at White Castle in Pennsylvania, I believe it was. He had narcolepsy, right? And he was black, and he was a bigger male. Right? Cops took him outside. This is on video, by the way. You can check it out online. It's on video. And they hogtied him, which isn't a practice that's supposed to be allowed. And they left him there to die. He suffocated to death while they all were making sure each other cops were okay. Yeah? Now, if you don't believe that's racist, what white male What white male can you throw at me that has received that kind of treatment? None. You can't throw any at me because it is none. Yeah, every now and then you might get a white person killed, but you don't get them killed at the proportionate rate that you get black men killed, or black women for that matter. So, right. There's one more case I really want to share, so I'm going to go ahead and upload this, and then I'm going to upload the next one. And if you can tell me that the next one isn't racist, then I'm done with you. And everybody else should be done with you, because you're the exact type of racist person that would be joining these cops.